He's the Hall of Famer, the Madison Square Garden Knicks commentator, Walt Clyde Frazier, back on the show. Clyde, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
You doing all right?
I'm percolating, man. I can't wait. I can't wait.
3 weeks ago, what did you know about Jeremy Lin?
He was from Harvard. He grew up in California. He's been cut a couple of times. That was about it.
Was there any buzz about him even in practice, Clyde?
No. It was just looked like filling a roster spot, trying to get another guy perhaps that could come in at the point guard position. But other than that, I don't think they were thinking that he could come in and help the club that much.
Jason Terry said that Jeremy Lin is a system point guard. With Mike D'Antoni's system, I understand you're going to get numbers up tempo, but how much of this is being a system point guard?
I think Novak is more of a system guy in D'Antoni's system because he has the freedom to shoot the three ball, but I think Lin can adjust to any system. I didn't hop on this bandwagon right away. I'm like, hey, I played the game. Some things can happen. But when I saw Dallas, the world champions, changing their defense, putting different guys on this guy, trying to prevent him doing what he's doing, hey, this guy's for real, man. He's changing the game. He's only going to get better. He's still, I think, learning as he goes. And I believe I don't think he believes how easy it has been for him.
But wait, you didn't sign off until what you saw yesterday with the way the Mavericks tried to defend him, and then you said, okay, now I get it, or he's arrived?
Right, because no one has taken him serious. Like Kobe didn't know who the guy was. When they played the Lakers, Kobe wasn't that aware of him. The coach, nobody really knew. It was just starting to begin. But the Mavericks had time to plan for him, and their plan was very elaborate. When I saw them doubling him with the center, guys on the perimeter, then they were getting back, then they put a taller guy on him. I was like, man. This is something, and the guy thrive. He continues to thrive. To me, he's doing what he has to do. If they need scoring, he provides scoring. Obviously, he's looking to dish before he wants to swish. I thought teams would be able to exploit him defensively, and that hasn't happened either.
He's Walt Clyde Frazier, MSG analyst, Knicks Hall of Famer, joining us Dan Patrick Show. How would you defend Jeremy Lin?
The same way teams are doing. Taking away the right-hand penetration, forcing him to his left. But it's sort of like holding water in your hand. You can only do it for so long, and then all of a sudden, this guy starts to get into the paint. He starts to come to his right, starts to create havoc. If he doesn't score, he's dishing, or he's fouled. He scores, and he goes to the line. So he just starts to create havoc. His turnovers now have been a problem. He's had too many turnovers. That's something he needs to work on. But like I said, whatever the guy has adjustment he's had to make, he's made. And right now I'm convinced it's not a fluke. He's only going to get better. And I'm not saying he's going to average 25, 28 points a game. I was thinking maybe 15 and 10.
You'd take that.
But right now, with Melo, even with Melo coming back, I don't see that deterring what he's doing. I think he should be better when Melo comes because now they can't double him as frequently.
That's a great point. You got the Nets and the Knicks coming up tonight. But does Melo acclimate himself to Jeremy Lin's game or the other way around?
I think right now the way the team is prospering, Melo has to make the transition, which I don't think should be a problem. Melo is a guy that can get any shot that he wants. So if the ball is moving, like now they have the good continuity, that should make his life easier. I equate it to when Earl Monroe came to the Knicks and everyone said it wouldn't work. We need two basketballs, but we made it work. I like when Earl came because when he got hot, I got more shots. They had to double him.
Yeah, but you made it work, Clyde, because, Earl came in as a great scorer with the Bullets, but you also, that was your team, leading, you were the point guard, and I think that's what Jeremy Lin understands, too. Melo's this great scorer. How do I make you better? is really, I think, the key with all of it. Then Melo's going to see the results, and I think you're right. I think everybody does benefit from it, but it does take somebody to take the lead. You did that, and I think Jeremy Lin will do that now.
Yeah. I think they should become a juggernaut now with Melo coming back, J.R. Smith. I mean, there's so many pieces and options, but everyone is looking at the offense. I'm looking at the defense. The defense has been the catalyst down the stretch, and not the previous game, but the games before that, it was the defense, Shumpert, Jeffries. These guys are creating a lot of havoc fields. They're forcing turnovers, allowing Lynn to do what he does in transition. So the defense has really made a quantum leap, and that's why I think the team is only going to continue to prosper.
Yeah, they were a terrible defensive team last year, but they're much improved this year. I love Tyson Chandler in the middle. But if you're looking at where this Knicks team is, now they're a 500 team record-wise, Clyde, but in the East, where do you see the Knicks? Let's remove the record, just the way they are playing now and what you see towards the end of the regular season.
Well, obviously the East is Miami and Chicago.
Okay, where do the Knicks come in?
Well, I think they're right there now with the Celtics. Orlando's tough, but I think they could do that. So I'm saying no one would want to face these Knicks in the playoffs. I don't think anyone is going to take them for granted going into the playoffs. But we won't have to wait long, Dan, to see what this team is going to do. After the All-Star break, they have a lot of bona fide teams on their schedule. Very difficult schedule coming up for the Knicks, so right away we'll know what's going to happen with this team.
Good to visit with you again, Clyde.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. Now, I don't think anyone is relishing more in this than I am. I mean, having been a former player and going through this excitement. Our excitement was more for the team, not for one guy like it is now for Lynn, but it was for Frazier, Bradley, DeBusschere, Reed. But seeing the city energized and coming to the Garden, man, and where it's so provocative there is just a revelation for me.
Well, I tell people, if you get a chance, be in the Garden when the Knicks are relevant. There's no other place in America for a sporting event. That building is just different. And you were there in 70 and 73 when they won titles, and now you're there now even with Jeremy Lin.
Yeah. Can't wait till tonight's game. So thanks for having me on the show.
Before I let you go, the toughest guy you had to guard was who during your career?
Well, I always name three guys, Robertson, West, and Earl the Pearl. But I always say Earl was the most difficult because he didn't know what he was going to do.
And Oscar was so physical.
Right. I know Oscar was going to beat me, push me down where he wanted to go, and Wes was that quick step. He was going to stop and pop. But Earl, man, everything was improvisation. Just making stuff up, man. It was difficult to guard those guys.
He was like Thelonious Monk or Coltrane. Like there was jazz to Monroe because you just weren't quite sure, but man.
And then he would embarrass you with the move, so you had to bring your best game, man. This guy would embarrass you out there. So.
Hey, have fun tonight. Good to visit with you again. Thank you, Clyde.
Okay, man. Take care.
All right, Clyde Frazier.